welcome back to our first Buddy Read episode of 2023. I am one of your FWBs, booked with Emily, or just M.
And I am your other FWB, Read Reviews by Jess, or just Jess. Happy New Year, everyone. Woo! We are starting 2023 off strong with Buddy Reading Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. This book has taken Bookstagram really by storm, and Book Talk as well. People have loved it, so we were really excited to read it this month. But before we get into everything, Emily, how was your New Year?
It was good.
I was just saying your New Year's Eve. What is the question?
Yeah, I will just...
How was your New Year?
My past 3 days. No, New Year's Eve was pretty low-key. It's always low-key. I think I mentioned that last episode, and we were sick, too. So we kind of just stayed home, did your sauerkraut, like I said, had a sip of champagne. Tim had a case of Budweiser.
A whole case, wow.
And then actually we solved a murder mystery. We got this thing from Target. It was really cool. It was like Murder at the Motel, and it was rated medium, like the hardness level was medium. Yeah. And we got it, and Tim was kind of skeptical, but I was like, no, like Jess and I did one of these. It was Magnolia Park.
It was Nancy Drew.
Yeah, but Murder at Magnolia or something. I was like, no, trust me. They're so fun. Like, it'll be great. It was so hard. It was so hard, but it was so much fun. So I'll have to put a picture on the story, because if you're ever looking for like a fun game night to do, even by yourself, you can do it by yourself or with your like significant other or like a group of girlfriends. I recommend it. It was a lot of fun, but really, really hard. So anyways, it was good. Pretty low key.
I was surprised because when Emily first came to visit, was that your first visit or your second? I don't remember.
Yeah, one of them. I don't know.
At one point, when Emily came to visit, I got us that to do, and it was a Nancy Drew themed one. I think they're the same brand. Like the same company made the one that you make. Yeah. And I really just like held the team together. I put the team on my back. I solved the mystery.
She did.
And so when she said that she was doing it, I was like, yeah, she's just going to be not solving the mystery.
Well, in my defense, when me and Jess were doing it, she gave me a bucket of queso and chips. So I was preoccupied with just eating, and she's over there solving this mystery, and she did a good job. But I will say I carried the team this time with Tim. He couldn't even remember the name of the victim.
I believe that.
But we had so much fun, and so I think it's like a fun date night or like a game night idea. I'll definitely have to put it up on our story so you guys can see it.
Yeah.
But how was your New Year's?
My New Year's was good, honestly. I made cookies, and what did we even have for dinner? I'm like totally blanking.
I don't know. What did you have? You said you don't do sauerkraut. It must not have been that good.
Oh, we got sushi. Okay. Yeah, so we got sushi, and then we really spent like most of the evening just like watching movies and shows and just literally just lounging around, and it was great. And we went to bed at like 10 p.m. So I was really rang in the new year.
I was gonna say, you better not say you watched the ball drop, because I texted you at like 12:02 and wished you a happy new year, and you didn't text me back till the next morning. So I was like, if this bitch even says she was awake for that ball to drop.
I surely was not. I was knocked out. My husband and I both were. So, but overall, it was really good. And then Emily and I both are now back to work. Not right now. We're not recording this during the workday or anything. And I'm riding the goddamn struggle bus today. I'm so tired. My sleep schedule is all the way fucked up. I went to bed at literally like 2 a.m. last night. I was sending Emily videos and going through my camera roll when she was here. I think we talked about it. We like randomly decided we were going to do improv. And so I rediscovered those videos last night, and I was just like cracking up.
Yeah, that's what I woke up to. Yeah. I didn't watch them. I was not in the right headspace. Like, I was so pissed off this morning waking up and having to work, and then I wake up to all these videos from Jess, and I'm like, those were better times. Like, I cannot watch this right now.
You should have. They would have put you in a great mood. Yeah. Anyways, so Yeah, overall, New Year's Eve was great. Just looking forward to kind of getting back into a routine because I feel like I've just been like doing nothing. Yeah. And that's a fabulous routine in my opinion. But in order to have some semblance of an adult life, got to get back into it. But anyways, what's our quiz today?
So we are going to take a BuzzFeed quiz. Pretend to be surprised, guys. It's eat like a Southerner for a day, and we'll give you a Southern belle persona. And just real quick to explain why we're taking this one, we will give you like an overview of before I let go, like we always do. But they own a Southern restaurant, and so we thought it would be fun to kind of do something like this. So let's get started, baby. The first question. Yep. Pick a Southern breakfast. Oatmeal, tea.
Wait, are we going to do this in solely Southern accents? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
We should not.
Pick a Southern breakfast. Oatmeal, T-bone steak, sausage gravy and biscuits, grits, bacon and eggs, or just a simple sweet tea.
Oh, that's a tough one. I think I'm going to go. I'm going to have to go with sausage gravy and biscuits.
Bless your heart. That's delicious. I'm going to go with a T-bone steak and eggs.
Oh, okay. All right. Pick a Southern side dish. Cornbread. Oh, mashed potatoes and gravy, red beans and rice, mac and cheese, collard greens, or another sweet tea.
I love the sweet tea, just like making an appearance. You know what? Southern, specifically side dish, I'm going to have to go with mac and cheese. Those Southerners know how to make a good pot of mac and cheese.
Yeah. Oh, this is a tough one for me. I think I'm going to go with mashed potatoes and gravy, honestly, for the simple fact that that picture looks fire and I have not eaten yet today.
Those look like KFC mashed potatoes, do they not, with that gravy?
I love KFC mashed potatoes.
So good. So good. Okay. Pick a Southern snack. A peach, boiled peanuts, pimento cheese spread, pork rinds, fried okra, or a sweet tea.
Really coming strong. This is a hard one. I'm torn between boiled peanuts and fried okra. I think I'm going to go fried okra because that's so good.
That's what I was going to pick.
Did you want to do that? Yeah. You can do it too. It's okay.
I'll do... okay, yeah, I'm going to do fried okra too.
Okay. Good choice. All right. Pick a Southern supper. Oh, jambalaya, chicken noodle soup, barbecue ribs, fried chicken, chicken pot pie, or if you're continuing on the same diet, just a sweet tea.
Yeah. I think if we're doing specifically Southern, I have to go jambalaya. Like, I have to. Yeah. I think that's a Southern staple.
I was going to say that because my grandma makes a really good jambalaya, but I'll do fried chicken.
Yeah, fried chicken's looking good.
Too.
Yeah.
Some fried chicken from like an actual like Grits. The restaurant in the book is like an actual like nice restaurant. Yeah. So I think they would have some really good fried chicken.
They do talk about Vashti's chicken pot pie quite often in that book too. So
you know what else they talk about? Her ribs.
Yeah, Seam loves those ribs. Okay, pick a Southern dessert: fruit salad, sweet potato pie, pecan pie, banana pudding, peach cobbler, or a sweet tea.
I'm just gonna say it. If you're picking fruit salad when sweet potato pie, pecan pie, banana pudding, and peach cobbler are on the counter, like, let's just pretend. I'm gonna do banana pudding. That slaps.
Okay, I'm gonna go with peach cobbler. I'm so relieved that you did not pick peach cobbler.
I hate peach. So, fun fact about me.
Oh, okay. All right.
Consider yourself my best friend and you don't even know I hate peach. Whatever. It's fine. Okay.
Fuck.
Did I read the last one or did you?
It's your turn.
Okay. Pick a Southern drink. A mint julep, a lemonade, cola, a Bloody Mary, straight bourbon, or a sweet tea.
I guess if I was going alcohol, I would pick Bloody Mary because I'm on a Bloody Mary kick right now, but I'm not going to pick alcohol. So I am going to go with a lemonade because I feel like a fresh squeezed lemonade from like some Southern lemons would just be good.
Southern lemons from the South. I think it's finally time. I'm going to pick sweet tea. I think that sounds like the perfect pairing.
Yes, I agree. All right. Finally, for good measure, what Southern phrase will leave your mouth when you finish your meals? Oh, this is fun.
Okay. Give them to us.
Okay. Oh, I forgot to read them. Sorry. By golly, that was good. I'm so full, I'm about to pop. I could eat that till the tick cows come home. I reckon that was the best meal I've had in a long time. My word. I need another sweet tea.
Oh my gosh. I think I'm going to go with... Oh, this is hard. I wish there was an all of the above option.
I know.
I'm going to say, by golly, that was good.
All right. You can have that one. I'm going to say, I reckon that was the best meal I've had in a long time, sugar. All right.
Perfect. All right. So I honestly forgot why we were taking this quiz.
I was like, is this going to be a book? Like, I was so confused. Like a cookbook?
But yeah, we're finding out what our Southern Belle persona is.
Right.
So for my Southern Belle persona, I got Rosemary Nell Jones. You can spit farther than anyone in town, but you wouldn't dare tell that to another living soul. Your hobbies include gossiping at the salon, baking 3 loaves of bread at one time, and going to the farmer's market to talk, but rarely actually buying anything. I think that sounds perfect. I am fully going to embrace my Rosemary Nell Jones and live that truth.
Rosemary. I am Georgia Elizabeth Baker. I live on a farm, but do not help with any of the farm chores. That makes sense. The only plant you water is a tropical one growing in your window that you brought home from your trip to Florida. Your hobbies include reading magazines, buying unnecessary items from the Home Shopping Network, and baking pound cakes for the local school bake sales. I'm more Georgia than I am Emily. Like, honest to God.
Literally, we're changing our intro, and it's now going to be one of your FWBs, Rosemary, and one of your FWBs, Georgia. We are fully going Southern Belle persona. Nobody talked to us.
That was fun, actually. That was different.
Yeah. Well, I really like that. Let us know if you guys like that version or like that type
different.
Of quiz. I feel I feel like we like try to always connect the quizzes to what we're reading or what we're doing or talking about. And I feel like this one was like, we were kind of reaching with this one. But I think it's still fun.
Yeah, like I think it was like a good little spin-off, still related. But with that being said, let's get into the book. Jess, do you remember enough to do the setting or the plot?
I remember. Okay. So this book, it takes place in Georgia. I don't know if they're actually in Atlanta or they're like around Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Do you remember?
I think that they are in Atlanta because at one part I know that he like defends Atlanta and she was like, only a boy from Atlanta, I think.
Okay. I think they're in like a suburb of Atlanta anyways. Yeah. So, and it follows a couple, Yasmin and Josiah. They are divorced and it kind of goes through how they're navigating life post-divorce, what got them to that point, and kind of how they recover. And it is a second chance romance. It's dual point of view. And there's also some forced proximity and a one-bed trope. And just lots of like challenging family dynamics. Did I get it? Is that good?
You nailed it. That was amazing. Just a few more things. It is 376 pages. So I think that's pretty average for a romance. And I thought it read fast. And then on Goodreads, it has phenomenal reviews. It's a 4.54 out of 5, and it has just above 5.5 thousand reviews. So I think it's on a good track for sure. And I actually looked at the reviews yesterday, and there was only 5.4 thousand reviews, and today there's 5.6. So it's definitely reaching its audience, and the reviews are going up. So
agree. It's definitely trending. Like I said at the beginning, if this is like going viral on Bookstagram, everybody's reading it, everybody's posting about it. I do want to preface, this book does have some touchy subjects, some content that may be triggering. So I've read one other Kennedy Ryan book, and I would say the same thing. So I think if you're going to read a Kennedy Ryan novel, make sure you look up, oh, my book of the month is getting delivered.
Oh,
I see
God.
it. Yeah. How many times have
You're
I
a cat, Rosemary the cowgirl. What the hell?
Ever since I became Rosemary, I've been yin and han. Let me tell you. But yeah, any Kennedy Ryan book, I would recommend looking up the content warnings or the trigger warnings if you have some sensitive topics. So just wanted to preface that before we kind of dive in.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good place to start. So the kind of hightailing off of what Jess said with the plot, this couple got divorced because she fell into a depression. You know, and I think that's kind of like a touchy topic sometimes in books because authors might not do it justice because it is such like a sensitive topic. But I thought she did a great job of it. I can't even imagine what she went through. So Yasmin, literally, she fell in her restaurant. She was almost to full term, and she ended up having to deliver her baby stillborn. The baby was already dead. Like, can you imagine going through something like that? Just so incredibly tragic. And so that's the trigger warning.
Yeah, that's the trigger warning. Yeah, also loss of a loved one. There's also, like Emily said, right before, well, she didn't say this, right before they lose their child, they lose someone who is like a mother figure in their lives and who they're very close with. And then I think a few weeks later, they end up going through this trauma. Just so much happens.
Just heartbreaking.
Yeah. So I think just to back it up, I overall, like, I love this book. I think Kennedy Ryan did a phenomenal job with representing this traumatic event in a really raw and real and emotional way. And also kind of representing like the realness of depression and what that is like. So I applaud her for that. This is definitely a heavier book, but I think she did a good job also weaving in some light aspects, some comedy, some really good talk about therapy and getting help with your mental health when you need it and learning how to cope. So overall, I loved it. What about you?
Yeah, no, I think that everything you said, I totally agree with. And I think the one word that comes to mind when I think of this book or when anyone has reviewed this book is raw, because that's just how it felt. I loved it. It's 5 stars. And if I wouldn't have had my top 10 decided last year when I read this probably would have been in my top 10 because I think it's just such a memorable story. And like Jess said, Kennedy did a great job at weaving in humor and light moments and how important therapy is and family dynamics and how just it was phenomenal. It really was. It was such like a poignant yes, story.
Poignant.
God, that was whiny and nasally. Maybe let's edit that out. But no, I absolutely loved it. And I thought the most fascinating part to me was that they are a divorced couple who have built a life together. And even after divorcing, they were still able to run a business together and raise their kids together. I hope I'm never in that position ever, but I do not think I would be a strong enough person to watch my husband date another woman that I, am the boss of at a restaurant. Like, I just truly don't think that I could do it.
Yeah, I think they are the blueprint for being a divorced parent. Like, I know I am a child of divorce. My husband is a child of divorce. And I think that if more parents acted like Josiah and Yasmin, like, I don't know. It's just so commendable. Like, they are the blueprint. Like, that's how you want to act, right?
It is, but I don't...
Granted, it's hard as hell.
I don't think it's common, though.
Yeah.
I don't think
it is either.
It is the blueprint. If you're going to get divorced, read this book and take, some notes on how they acted. But, like, I don't think it's common. I think it would be so incredibly hard. Like, they built first of all, they're college sweethearts, and you can just tell how much they love each other, which I think is another thing that we need to commend Kennedy on, that she was able to let the readers know, like, how much this couple loved each other when we really didn't even get that many flashbacks. I think there was only 2 chapters dedicated to flashbacks. I know that there was a couple of flashbacks weaved into the chapters, but they loved each other so much. And so to get divorced and live through all that tragedy and have a business and be raising 2 children, I would not be able to do it. I just know I wouldn't be able to do it.
I think you could do it. You're stronger than you think you are. Well, I will be that voice for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I just love these characters so much. Like, I want to be a part of their family or work at their restaurant or however they will let me be a part of their lives. I would like to do that. I just thought they were... I think, like, what we're talking about is, like, how they still were able to partner on a business and partner in raising their children. I think it really set for me, like, just that they were such a great team, and together they were amazing. But unfortunately, they split up because they weren't in a good space individually. And I think now that we see them, like, Josiah is getting therapy and he's learning to work through that, and Yasmin is, like, coping and she's back to herself, and it's just kind of nice to see, like, they've always been there for each other, even when they were divorced, even when they thought that they weren't.
Yeah, well, I do think that there was a time, though, when, like, they just handled it differently, which I think is really interesting, because even myself and Tim, we handle situations so differently, where I am more of Josiah, where I just want to, like, keep going. Like, I just want to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to sit and sulk. Tim, like, doesn't want, or no, it's the opposite. Tim doesn't want to talk about things. Like, he just wants to keep going and kind of just, like, ignore something that's bothering him, where I myself, like, I want to talk it out. Like, I just want to talk and talk and talk and communicate. And so that was so relatable to, like, watch them, because they just handled it in such different ways. And you could tell that they were both hurting over both of these losses so much, but they weren't there for each other. They were just handling it in such different ways.
Yeah. I think that they thought they were, though.
You thought they were,
like, Josiah thought... I think they thought they were being there for each other in the ways that they thought. Like, I think Josiah was like, I'm being there for Yasmin, where I'm running this business and I'm putting a roof over our heads while she can't be there. And Yasmin thought she was... I don't know if she thought she was being there, but she thought it was better for her to just... do, like, sulk and not sulk, that sounds terrible, but, like, be sad and, like, be by herself and, like, emotions. Pull away. Like, she thought that was better for her and better for their relationship. So they just weren't on the same page, but I think they were always for each other.
Yeah. I think that's where we'll probably disagree. I think that they both were focusing on themselves. Maybe more so Yasmin. I think Josiah truly did believe, like, I need to keep the roof over our head. I need to keep this business running. Like, this is what I need. So when Yasmin comes out of this, she still has all of this surrounding her. Where I think Yasmin, and she even kind of, like, admits, like, she withdrew. Like, she didn't want to do life anymore. Like, she wasn't there for herself. She was barely there for her kids. You know, she couldn't even find her love for Josiah. Like, she just was struggling to even stay afloat. So I think that her whole journey throughout this book is kind of like her acknowledging that and her forgiving herself for letting her fall into that depression, which rightfully so. Who wouldn't be depressed after all that loss? But I think that's what makes her so strong, is that she was able to, like, really self-reflect and see that she was going through all of that, and she had to save herself before she could save her marriage, save her love, you know what I mean? Like, I think she really needed to put herself first.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think we're saying the same things, but I'm not saying it as well. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, like, I think she thought that, like, she couldn't be the person that her family needed to be. Yeah. And, like, she assumed, like, with that was what's best if she just withdrew,
Yeah.
right? So, like, I think at the end of the day, like, they're both trying to do what they thought was best or what they could or how they could navigate through that situation.
Yeah, no, and I think that they did a good job of it. I think something that I really liked about this story, too, was the therapy aspect. So she really leaned into therapy. Like, she credits that for saving her life, where Josiah was like that typical, like, I don't need help. Like, no one's going to tell me what I need to do in my life to be happy. But then I thought it was such like a profound moment when he put his family ahead of him and was like, you know what, if this helps my son and he's going to go to therapy, then I'll do it too. I loved that. I thought that was such a turning point. But I also felt really bad for Yasmin, because then she even said, so like, our son's worth it, but saving our marriage wasn't worth it. And so I thought that was like really hard for her.
Yeah. I feel like in the flashbacks for me, like, she said that, like, Josiah wouldn't go to therapy, but I feel like they never really taught, like, we never got to see that actual conversation or, like, experience it, I guess. Like, she just, he said too, like, he just, like, therapy wasn't for him. But I'd be curious to know, like, what conversations they had about going to therapy, because it seemed in the flashbacks that it was just like, okay, they decided to get a divorce, or Yasmin decided she wanted a divorce, and then that was it. Like, what... You know what I mean? I don't know if you felt the same.
Yeah, I felt a little bit differently. Like, I definitely felt, because I think he said a few times, like, he just refused. Like, I think that in a couple of the flashbacks, or even when he went to therapy, he explained how, like, he told her, I'm not going. Like, I'm not going. It's not going to help me. It might help you. It did help you, and that's great. But, like, he just refused to go. Like, he had enough to worry about, and I just don't think it's something that he, like, believed in. But I love by the end how he was literally, like, calling his therapist to, like, meet him in the mornings to talk about things. Like, it helped him so much. And I think that therapy helps so many people, and there shouldn't be, like, a stigma around it. You know, no one should be embarrassed to talk to someone and get their feelings and emotions out there, especially when this couple was going through something so devastating.
No, I totally agree. I guess what I'm saying is that for me, this is something that, you know, I struggle with when it comes to, like, reading books about marriage and divorce and stuff like that. I guess I wanted more of a little bit more of the conversation of, like, okay, but, like, what else did you try to do? Because it seems like what we got in the book is, like, she was in this dark depression and they weren't communicating, right? But then it just seems like one day she's like, just out of nowhere, he's shocked and she says, I want a divorce, and he gives her a divorce. Like, when did they talk about going to therapy? Like, you know what I mean?
No,
I guess there was, like, a gap for me.
And I think that, like you said, like, as a reader, like, that is one of the things, like, you like communication, especially within married couples. So I could definitely see where you're kind of, like, struggling to connect that bridge the gap between, like, her asking for it and then a divorce.
Yeah, but I did get, like, part of this story is such an important part was them learning how to communicate with each other. So I see that now. But yeah, I think like just one smaller, like, flashback about that would have been good for me.
I think so. Switching gears a little bit to different characters. Deja, their daughter, I wanted to whip her across the face so many times. And I get she was struggling. Like, I get she was at such, like, a formative age and her parents are going through this divorce and she was old enough to understand what was happening. But I just felt so bad for Yasmin. I felt so bad that Yasmin had to see Deja be kind to her dad and her dad's girlfriend and form these special bonds with everyone but her. Like, it just broke my heart for her.
Yeah. I feel like I really felt for Deja and resonated with her after we got the full story. But I agree, there were times where I was just like, dang, like, is she just, like, being a teenager? Like, something had to have happened. And we do find out that, like, she heard Yasmin say all these things to Josiah where she didn't love him. She couldn't love him. She wanted a divorce. And so Yasmin blamed her mom for everything that happened, which if I was a 10-year-old kid, like, I would do the same thing, right? So I think it was just, like, goes back to that communication piece and just knowing that this family, Yasmin specifically, was, like, so just distraught after the loss of their child that they didn't even really have like a conversation with their kids, or like they didn't, like none of that was talked about in the book. Like, you know what I mean? So they just told the kids that, you know, just like it's a mutual thing, and they were like protecting Yasmin because this was truly what she wanted. So I don't know, it was just interesting for all of that to come to light, I think,
for sure. And I did feel for Deja. I did want to whip her across the head a couple times, but I think that I'll feel that way about my kids when they hit their teen years too. But I think that I wish there would have been, like you said, more communication. I wish Josiah would have maybe taken Deja aside and kind of tried to explain a little better, like, where Yasmin was coming from. And I think he did try at points. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a 13-year-old daughter, so, like, or I don't even, like, I don't know how I would maybe relay that message to her. But it just, I think that goes back to this whole story, and everyone was hurting, and it was just so heartbreaking. But I did like all of their journeys. Like, at the end, when it finally came out and they started to get along again, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was very sad.
Yeah.
But there were funny moments, too. There were a lot of, like, funny moments.
Yeah, there were a lot of funny moments. I think Hendrix and Soledad, I think is her name. Yeah. They really brought some humor, and just, like, relief. The girls' nights and that aspect was really fun. And I think Jasmine and Josiah. Did I call her Jasmine?
I think so.
Guys, I'm clearly not doing well. My thoughts are all over the place. I don't know even what I'm saying at this point in my life. I'm sure you can tell. You're probably like, Jess is so dumb. Did she even read this book? I did.
Rosemary,
and
I really enjoyed
it. Lately, the past couple weeks, I've just been like fully stroking. Yeah. So I should probably drink more water or something.
Literally, I'm so dehydrated. It's just like affecting my brain, to be honest. But
I'm so tired today too. Anyways, back to the book.
Yeah, back to the book. I think that Hendrix and Soledad, they called her Soul too, I think, but they were the friends that she needed all along. You would almost think they've been friends since childhood, so I thought it was interesting that they've recently met. Like, they haven't even been friends forever.
Yeah, I was confused at that at first, actually, because they seemed so close, like, in the encounters that they had first, like, when they were at their girls' night. And then they were, like, asking her questions, and I was like, why don't you guys know this already? Like, you've been friends forever. So I was a little confused by that. Yeah, they all recently just met, so that was a shock.
That was shocking. I also really liked the setting. Like, I loved how they had, like, those community days and the restaurant. Like, I could picture this. I want to live in Skyland, or however you pronounce it. Like,
Skyland!
I want to buy a house there, and I want to be on the board and help Yasmin plan these community days, because they sounded like so much fun.
I think that's perfect. And I think that's exactly what I was saying in the beginning of how I wanted them to, like, have me however they would. So I would be on the board with you.
Okay, perfect. Well, speaking of the community days, how about when she and Mark got together? How'd you feel about that little mashup?
Honestly, it felt weird to me. And I kind of felt bad for Mark, because he seemed like, I don't know, he seemed like he genuinely liked her, and she just kind of seemed like she was just, like, trying to get over Josiah, which she was upfront with him about it, but I did feel bad for him. So maybe we'll see more of him in the next book.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. So if you guys didn't know, this is the first book in a series. I don't know. I'm assuming maybe 3 books for both the friends, Hendrix and Soledad, maybe. I'm not sure. I know if you look on Goodreads, it literally says that this is, like, book number 1. So I can only assume that there's going to be more than one book.
I'm trying to look at that now, but I can't find anything.
Oh. Well, I liked the Mark and Yasmin mashup because I like seeing Josiah's, like, jealous side. Like, I think if it wasn't for that relationship, they maybe would have stayed apart even longer. Like, I think them both dating other people pushed them back together because they were like, whoa. we don't want this.
Whoa.
Yes, let's slow down here. But I was not as big of a fan as Vashti and Josiah. I hated it. I was so angry the whole time. I'm like, Josiah, you traitor. Like, why are you doing this?
Okay, I will say, I had an issue with Josiah at first, but then I grew to love him. And it was because of Vashti that I had that issue, because he literally just like brings her to Yasmin's house to like eat dinner with the kids. And like, I know they said like they wouldn't talk about it as like moving on romantically with someone, but I think still like you have to have respect for your partner or your ex-partner in that aspect, and like not bring them into their home for dinner with your kids without even saying you're dating.
I'm so glad that you said that, because I think I actually blocked that out, because I had the same exact problem. I'm like, okay, so Josiah's clearly an asshole. Like at first, I still to this day think that was wrong. Like even after finishing the book, like for him to bring his girlfriend into her home where she lives in the house that they built together without like for her to walk in and see them just playing Monopoly as a family. Yeah. Imagine how hard that was. I thought that was so wrong. I do not think he handled that in a good way at all.
Agree. And then he was like, we said we didn't need to talk about, like, you don't, like, maybe you don't if you start dating someone, but I think like if you're gonna bring her into your house for like a game night with your kids, like maybe just like give her a heads up.
And it's also someone that your wife, that's your wife's employee. You know what I mean? Like she works for you guys. Like I think that was kind of just like a hard situation. I really couldn't, like I said, I just like could not imagine being in that environment, like going to work and seeing my ex-husband, who I'm still madly in love with, moving on. I would not want that in front of my face.
I guess I also was like a little bit confused as to what Yasmin's part in the restaurant was. Because like, I feel like Josiah kept saying, like, we make these joint decisions, but it seemed like he was really the one who was running everything, and then she would just, like, do events.
Yeah, I think he mentioned a few times that she was kind of the visionary behind the idea. So, like, she really kind of put her, like, thoughts and idea, like, brought her thoughts and ideas to life maybe a little bit. I don't know. That's kind of what I thought. Like, I don't know if she was at the restaurant every day. She certainly wasn't cooking, because we know that she was not a good cook. But I kind of envisioned her as just kind of making, like, I don't know, like having ideas and then he executes them on them is kind of what I thought.
Okay.
I don't know if that's right. That's kind of what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, that's like all they really gave us. Yeah. So yeah, I could see that for sure. What did you think about the steam in this book?
I liked it. I liked the steam.
Why are you saying it like that?
Because I think it's different than a steam. Okay, so I knew it was steamy going into it because everyone said the steam was, like, off the charts. But then I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like the steam because it's this divorced couple that is going through such a traumatic event. Like, I just don't know if it's going to be, like, I'm going to read it and think this feels really out of place because the book was so heavy. But I thought it was so well done. Like, I thought it was, like, very passionate. Like, it wasn't just, like, a random hookup. Like, it was something that you could tell they both genuinely, like, wanted and needed and that they were passionate about. And it was hot. Like, there was a lot of steam.
Hot.
It was hot.
Yeah. I think I noticed that, too, in the other Kennedy Ryan book I read, that she really knows how to write steam. And I think this book definitely didn't disappoint there. I think it was spread out enough, but also frequent enough that it, like, added to the story. Like you said, like, you could feel, like, the passion and, like, their need for each other. Right. And it really added to the story and their relationship and all of that. I think Josiah and Yasmin were both kidding themselves if they thought they could just have sex once and move on.
Yeah, they weren't fooling us. We knew the truth there. That was so... And then for them both to be like, when it gets to be too much, we just end it. I'm like, you guys are dumb. Like, you need to go back to your therapist. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. I definitely think there were... like I said, overall, I love this book. But I definitely think there were some instances where I just got so frustrated with them. Where I'm, like, screaming, like... Just fucking tell her. Just tell him you love him. Like, whatever. So that was frustrating. Continuing on with the steam, there's one steamy scene in the book where I was like, you guys should actually be in jail for this. But they have sex at a fucking school. I was like, what?
I thought it was kind of hot, actually. Like a little taboo. Like, I don't know. I was into it.
Yeah, it came out of left field for me. And I'm like, your kids are, like, literally down the hall with all of their friends. teachers.
What I thought was even a little more out there was when he was basically fingering her in the auditorium with like several hundred people sitting around them.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little more out there than them just like sneaking off to a room. Like I was like, oh, you guys are living on the edge.
That is included in the illegalities that I was talking about. I think you are not allowed to do that anywhere in public, especially in elementary school or in middle school, whatever the fuck it was.
Do it. Don't recommend.
Also, what was kind of taboo is where fucking Deja's having her birthday party and all her friends are there and they're just like borderline fucking in the kitchen.
Okay, I was stressed reading that. I was like, Deja's gonna walk in. Like, they are not thinking straight. Like, this sex is clouding their judgment. Because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, he's gonna eat her out on the freaking kitchen island and Deja's gonna walk in here. She'll be in therapy next. Like, honest
Literally.
to God. I couldn't even like enjoy what Kennedy wrote because I was so stressed that Deja was gonna find them.
Yeah, that was some. I think the steam was good, but some of them were just really like, "What are you guys doing? Like, you are." And then, like, when Deja actually caught them when they were having sex, like they heard them come in. Why are you getting dressed? Fucking slam the door and lock it. Like, what are you waiting for?
I think they subconsciously were just like, you know what? Let the kids find out. It's fine.
They're like panicking, rushing to get dressed, but the door's wide open.
Hide him in that
Yasmin's
walk-in
fucking
closet.
wrapped in a sheet. Yeah. Yeah. Fucking get out of the sheet.
I guess, though, the last thing that I really wanted to say about the steam, or just what I thought was so sweet, is I loved how many times that they both said that he just liked to kiss her. Like, I just thought that was so, so sweet, where he was like, sometimes I'll just, like, pull her into the pantry and literally just, like, make out with her because I just love the act of kissing her. And I think that's just romantic. Like, I thought that was really sweet.
I totally missed that part.
Okay, great. But you did not miss the sex in the school or the kitchen island.
I sure didn't. That's probably why I missed that part, because I was focused on what the hell
That's
happening.
Just the romance girly in me.
Yeah. I think they had a really, like, I think you could tell, like, they were very passionate about each other and, like, they loved each other and they showed that through sex and touch and kissing and all of that good stuff.
I agree. They're what is it? Love language.
Love language?
Yeah, is definitely physical touch and acts of sexual service, for sure.
During birthday parties and in public.
No, so true. I don't know what else really. What else?
Let me look at my...
Yeah. Oh, you know what? So I actually wrote this down. We just chatted about this. You'll hear next week. But some things Jess and I do when we are reading a book is we'll jot notes down while we're reading just to help us when we do write a review. And I wrote this down, and then another one of my friends asked how I was liking it, and I said that it felt slow to me, like the story was slow, but I think that it was intentional. Like, it never felt like it dragged. I just thought that it was a very intentional, slow build and a very, like, realistic portrayal, like, from their day-to-day life. Which I thought was really well done, because sometimes books like that can drag, where you're like, okay, let's just get to it. Like, let's get to the meat of this story. But I think everything she wrote was so intentional, and I didn't skim any of it. Like, I wanted to read every word because I felt that it was that important.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think this book is super bingeable, and, like, you want to see what happens next, and maybe that is because it is like a slow build. Like, it keeps you hooked. Like, you want to keep reading. But yeah, I couldn't put this book down. And overall, I agree. I don't think it dragged. Like, I think she has a way with words. There was definitely times where I was like, what the fuck does that word mean? And I had to dictionary it, because she, like, I don't know, the writing was beautiful. And and like you said, I think everything that she chose to say was very intentional. So
no, I agree. And another thing I wrote down was the cover is stunning. Like, the cover is so beautiful. The woman on the cover is beautiful. The colors of it are beautiful. I don't even have it tucked away in my bookshelf. I actually have it, like, displayed so you can see the cover, because I just think it's one of the prettiest covers I've ever seen on a book.
I agree. I love it. I think it's stunning. I'm looking at it now. Mine's upstairs. I think... I don't know what I'm going to say next. I don't have anything to say.
Yeah, I think overall this was a great pick from us, so you can thank us in our DM. No,
Slide into our DMs.
I knew that we would both love this because of the reviews I read on Booksta. Like, I was almost nervous to read it. I think I've said this a couple times. I get really scared to read books I know I'm going to love, or like really hyped books, because I get really scared. So sometimes I put them off. But this book, I'm so glad I was on vacation because I stayed up to read it way past my bedtime. I didn't want to put it down. I didn't want it to end. And speaking of the ending, I love that he ended up proposing again.
Yeah.
That was sweet.
Aww. So I actually did, I wanted to bring up how this kind of was, we read it at the perfect time and it came out at the perfect time because they do talk about Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's Eve. So I think it was a very timely book.
That wasn't even intentional.
This time of year.
I had no idea.
Right.
Did you know that?
Not for us. It might have been for Kennedy.
That's true. Not intentional on our end, but that was so fun. And again, I think that was so important to see that they like put aside their differences to celebrate these holidays together. I mean, they have 2 children, and we haven't really talked about their son, Kasim or Kasim, because they call him Seam. So I think it's Kasim. Kasim, but they're at such young ages and such formative years. So I just thought it was so incredibly, I don't know. It was just so strong of them to be able to do that.
One thing that we haven't talked about, we're like, let's wrap this up. We haven't talked about Aunt Bird at all.
Yeah.
And I think one of the best things about this book is the food aspect. And Grits was started, and I think Bird was the cook, or they used her recipes. And you get to kind of see this continuation of how Bird shows up in their lives and how they've kind of started to infuse them into their family, because she was so loved by Josiah and Yasmin and the kids and Milk and the rest of the Grit staff. Like, and it was cool to see Yasmin kind of take the lead in kind of trying to infuse Bird into their lives and like feel close to her and cope with loss that way. So I love that. And there's recipes in the back of the book if you missed it. And I kind of want to try the limoncello cake.
I did miss it. Is the mac and cheese back there? Because I would try that mac and cheese. Yeah, my book.
I don't have my book, but I don't think it is.
I don't want to get up. My book is.
It's like the limoncello cake, the sweet potato pancakes, a couple other things.
I'm glad that you brought that up, actually, too, because speaking of love language, I think food is one of their love languages, especially Bird's cooking. And if you read the book, you know Yasmin is not a good cook. It's kind of like a running joke. Like, her kids don't even want to eat her food. And so when she was making those recipes, I felt like that was like really, like you said, her way of still kind of being close to Bird. And I thought that when Josiah learned that she had that recipe book at Thanksgiving, like that was a big moment for them too. Like, he was like, I don't know.
When he took a bite of the stuffing and he was literally like, got chills because it was Bird's recipe that Yasmin made and she didn't tell anyone. And he was like stunned for a second. The woman was too stunned to speak.
I thought it was funny because her mom was like, I didn't make it. And Vashti was like, I didn't make it. You said mine was the best at the restaurant. And Yasmin's sitting down there and she's like, I made it. I'm like, yeah, you did.
I thought that was so sweet. And then he was just like in awe. I think that's really when it was like, damn, I can't live without this girl. And then also she made the cake for Day's birthday, and he was like, just say it's good.
But then she
and then it ended up being really good.
I thought those little moments of Deja being, you know, that sweet little girl to her mom, like, I loved those moments when she was like, I don't hate you, Mom, or, you know, thank you for everything. It was so sweet. This was a hard read. I actually only cried once, I think. And I can't even remember when, but I think I only teared up once. It wasn't even like me hysterically sobbing. I think I just got like tears in my eyes. But I think this was a really hard read, and it was emotional, and there definitely are a lot of trigger warnings if you if that's important to you, definitely, check those out. But I thought it was a beautiful story, and I thought it was really realistic. I mean, obviously, this is nothing that Jess and I have been through, so we can't relate in that way, but it felt really realistic, and like we both have said, just a really raw story of marriage and the hardships that you face in life.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think overall, this book, I think it kind of exceeded my expectations. I'm not going to lie. Like, I had high expectations going into it, just because of the hype that it got on Bookstagram. And I think that's always challenging when a book gets so much hype. You are kind of nervous, like you talked about, Em, or you have high expectations.
Yeah.
But I think this book definitely exceeded my expectations. So I really enjoyed it.
For sure. It delivered on my expectations, and even went above. Like I said, this is an honorable top 10 of 2022. I'm going to sneak it in there somehow. This will be my first review of 2023, though. So that's...
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's
it'll probably be mine too.
Yeah.
But I overall rated this 5 stars. Like I said, I had a couple of like frustrations and just like surrounding the communication, but I do think that was intentionally done by Kennedy Ryan. Like, I think you were supposed to feel that way, and if you didn't, you're better than me.
I will also rate this 5 stars, and if you follow me on my Bookstagram, I just did a rating guide, and so I'm sticking to it. There's nothing I would change about this story. I loved the characters. I will definitely think about this book for a really long time, and I will recommend it to anyone and everyone who will listen to me. So 5 solid stars coming from me.
Yeah. I agree. So we don't know when, like we said, this will be a series. We don't know when the second book comes out. I tried to Google it on this podcast recording, couldn't find anything. So hopefully it's 2023 or 2024. Who's to say, though?
Maybe it'll come out at the holidays again. Maybe it is intentional.
Maybe it is intentional. But what is our bookmarked gonna be this season? What am I saying? This episode, guys. I'm really unwell.
I was like, I don't know what she's saying. Let's think. You pick.
Okay. Bookmark.
I have one.
Oh, okay. Fascinating, because I didn't.
Okay. What is the name of the restaurant that Yasmin and Josiah own together?
That's a good one. Yeah.
Thank you. So if you know the answer and you want to play bookmark with us, make sure to slide into our DMs over at Friends with Books Pod, and we pick a winner every Wednesday. You'll win a coffee or a book, or who knows, whatever we're feeling that week, you'll win. So make sure to slide into our DMs with the answer.
Yes, please do. And fun fact, if you are not following Emily and I on our Bookstagram personal accounts, we're actually doing a pretty nice giveaway right now.
Yes.
In collaboration with one of the bookish merch creators that we love, Threaded by Sabrina. So if you would like to win a Kindle or $100 Amazon gift card in a bookish embroidered crew neck, head over to either of our Instagrams and you can enter on our post there. But
yeah,
that'll be up until Sunday. It is a good one. I think, yeah.
Sunday the 8th.
So you'll have some time to enter. Maybe you'll win a Kindle. I don't know. But I guess we can say we're friends with Before I Let Go.
We're best friends.
Would you say so?
With Before
I would say we're lovers.
Yeah, we're sleeping.
We're part of the family.
With Before I Let Go.
If you like this episode and want to continue reading along with us, make sure you follow us on Instagram at Friends with Books Pod, where we will announce all of our upcoming buddy reads. And we actually just announced all of our reads in January. All of our episodes coming in January. So yes. Really excited for them.
Yeah. And if you don't have Instagram, next week we will be talking about Booksta tips and tricks if you're wanting to get started on the platform. Very highly requested episode, so it is pretty long, so clear your schedule.
Yeah.
It's over probably an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's close to 2 hours.
We had a lot to say. And then our next buddy read is going to be All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham, which is a thriller. So a little bit of a change of pace, but that'll be later this month. So again, if you don't have Instagram, that's what's in store. And the last episode of the month is going to be with Tessa Bailey. And you definitely don't want to miss that one because Jess does a really good job.
Shut up. It's better than I did in this episode. Let me just tell you, I apologize if you're like, what is Jess saying? What is Jess saying? I feel that. I felt that this episode. What was I even saying?
I thought you did a great job. I knew what you were saying.
Yeah. Look at the dark circles under my eyes. Am I okay?
Drink some
just
water.
Go to the doctor.
Literally. Oh my God.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Tessa Bailey is coming on the episode. I'm just done.
Yeah, so in the meantime, Jess is going to go hydrate. We're wrapping this up. In the meantime, if you like these episodes and you want to keep listening, please make sure you subscribe to the podcast on any platform that you listen and give us a rating. If you're liking it, we love to read them and we love to see the ratings go up. It means a lot to us. We do this for you guys and mainly for us because we have so much fun. So... yeah, that's about it.
Bye!
Oh my God. See you later.